So for the agile, and then we have predictive, and then we have iterative,
Right.
and then we have incremental.
Mm-hmm.
So which life cycle goes for which type of project management method?
Okay.
So this is it's called Stacy complexity model.
Okay.
So this model, it has technical degree of uncertainty
Mm-hmm.
and requirement uncertainty.
Okay.
If this if there this is high uncertainty. So in the quadrant in here, it is called chaos and it is fundamentally risky.
Okay.
And if it is below that, this is complex,
Complex. Yeah.
or it's complex, and then complicated, and then simple.
Okay.
For the simple, we will do predictive
Mm-hmm.
waterfall method, and for the complicated, we will do iterative or incremental method, and for the complex one, we will do agile method.
Okay.
Right. So, that means agile, it is high uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
and requirement uncertainty is a high.
Mm-hmm.
For the iterative or incremental, it is not uncertain. It has some medium.
Right.
Everything here. Okay. So for this one, is important. Agile Manifesto and Mindset. So this is the Agile Manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
It's uh, they are saying that Agile has 4 manifesto, and you will get some questions based on that. They will give you some matching type questions or multiple questions based
Mm-hmm.
on these 4 options. Sometimes they will say that individual and interactions, they will give you overflow following a plan,
Mm-hmm.
or working software, maybe they will give you over process and tools, so you have to memorize this one.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this? Individual and interactions
Mm-hmm.
over process and
And
tools.
tools. Mm.
For example, in the project management, we love process and tools, but they are saying that in the agile, if there is interaction between the team members, it will reduce more process, more
Okay.
tools. That means they are enforcing more interactions than using LAN or different types of official methods. So those are time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And then working software over comprehensive documentation. That
Okay.
means how they how you will know that your your project is going to successful, or
Mm-hmm.
how can you measure the project performance rate. So they are saying that um, for the performance in the predictive analysis method, predictive method, we do cost performance index, different types of metrics on there. So they are saying that over comprehensive documentation, that means lots of report. Instead of that, we can say that if the software package is working, that means if it is if it is does not showing any bugs, or if the software is working as I require, then that's the more important thing than instead of spending lots of time for the writing documentation. And then customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So in the predictive method, we develop project management plan, and if the customer wants to add things or change things, um, they need to go for the um, change control board. But for the agile, they don't need to change control board. They can collaborate with the developer teams and give any requirements they feel so. For example, in the predictive, if you want to change the scope, can you change it without permission from the um, change control board? You cannot. You have to follow lots of documentation, right? So this is the customer collaboration over contract negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
So I got some practice exam from there. So they are saying that the project is high uncertainty and high risk, and the customer request for some change in the scope. So they give some options as a manager. What should you do? Should you neglect the uh, things, or you should go through the change control board, or you should collaborate with the customer, something like that. So you should collaborate with the customer because this is agile method.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is responding to change over following a plan.
Mm-hmm.
As I told you that for the predictive, we go through the change control board. That means we are following a plan instead of respond to change. But for the agile one, it is different. Like when the owner said that I need to add the things, that means he can change the scope. So we have to change. We have to respond for the change. Okay. So again, memorize this thing: individual and interactions over process and
Process
tools.
and tools.
Right. Then working software over comprehensive documentations, and then customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. And you will get some questions that in the agile, how can we measure the project performance? It is we measure working software. Yeah, we measure the working software. Okay, so these are the four things you need to memorize it. It's important. So next 12 things is the um, agile principle. 12 agile principle. Same, we have to understand these things in here. So our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. So in this, they are saying that um, in the agile mindset means if something happened, or if there is a new situation, how can you react, right? So they are saying in the first mindset that their first highest priority is to satisfy the customer. If the customer is happy, I am happy, like that. So they are saying that how can you make the customer happy? If you give the delivery early and then continuous. Continuous means, for example, if someone requests for the website development, and after, instead of waiting for 6 months or 1 year, you are showing a sample after 2 weeks. For example, you develop some dummy website, and then talk with the customer, and customer is saying that, oh, it's developing. So they are happy because instead of waiting 6 or 1 year, and after 6 or 1 year they will get the some value from the website, and instead of that they can put in their server and running the business. They can start the running the business. So they should be happy. So they are saying that we have to give early and continuous delivery, right? So if someone said that, okay, um, there is a term called sprint. So if the which sprint the customer will be happy, 1 month sprint or 2 weeks sprint, 2 weeks sprint, because it is short and early, right? So customer means, for example, you are paying me and I am giving you the service. So you will be happy if you get the instant service immediately, right? But if you say that you paid me, but your service comes after a year, then you are not that much happy. right? For example, Toyota RAV4. So you are paying and purchasing the product, but you do not have the capability to put some specific things in the Toyota production because everything is already built up. You just purchasing the package. But in the agile things, agile is like that. You are pre-ordering some Tesla vehicles and you are giving different criteria, different model things or some exclusive things, and you're paying, right? So the manufacturer, they will build the car based on your requirement. This is called agile. Yeah. And then welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile process harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. So customer competitive advantage means we, for example, customer is saying that we need to build up an uh, payment system software. So um, we build a payment system software and we give the customer after 6 months. And customer, when they run the software, they notice that there are more competitive company on there. They cannot compete it. So we have to focus on the customer competitive advantage. That means we also build something that customer also can be benefited, right? Yeah, they're saying that for the things we have to welcome change requirement. That's the agile things. Uh, and then deliver working software frequently is what frequently and from a couple of weeks to couple of months with a preference of the shorter time scale. So in our agile class, the trainer said that um, the sprint, it has a maximum 1 month duration and minimum 2 weeks. But 2 weeks or 1 week, so forgetting. So usually people do 2 weeks sprint, and at the end of the sprint, they give the deliverables to the customer. That means this deliverable is working. That means it is not unfinished. So they are saying that deliver working software frequently, and from a couple of weeks to couple of months. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. That means the software developers, and the product owner. Product owner means those who will use the software. For example, so he come and say that, okay, Mr. Developer XYZ, I need this software. So they will work together in the business environment. But in the predictive environment, developer work in separately. Sometimes they don't have that much interactions with the sponsor, right? Because they already have the plan. They know what to do. They do not need to come to the sponsor. But in Agile, developer and the sponsor, they will work together because developer need to understand the requirements from the sponsor, and the sponsor need to guide and provide the business value to the developers so that they can make effective product. And then number 5, build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need. Trust them to get the job done. So they are saying that when you build the agile team, try to bring some people who are motivated, self-motivated, and try to trust them. That means you are giving some power. For example, they can make the decide based on that. So for example, if you have 10 tasks, so the team will choose the task based on their preference. As a scrum master, you cannot give the task enforcedly to the team members. So team members, they will take the task based on their interest. You cannot give the task to them. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is to face-to-face conversation. This is important, face-to-face conversation. So Agile always prefer face-to-face conversation. There is an term, it's called osmotic communication. Osmotic communication means, for example, if 3 or 4 team members working together in a physical environment, so they will hear something from their team members, although they are not asking for the information, like something gossiping or something, some terms they can learn instantly, right? For example, if one team member asking that, uh, hey, how did you complete this code? The other team member, he do not need to know, but because of the conversation, he something here from the sound and then join the conversation. So it's called osmotic communication. So in the Agile, they believe that face-to-face conversation is more effective than the virtual, right? Okay. Working software is the primary measure of progress. As I told you, that working software, how can you measure the progress? Agile process promote sustainable development. What is sustainable development? For example, when they will start building the product, initially they don't have any idea how to build it. Then after a couple of sprints, they will they will know how to make the improvement. There is a called retrospective step. I'm not sure you are familiar. So retrospective means after the product development, they inspect the product with the customer and take the feedback from the customer. For example, you build a light in here, this one. Sure, yes. You build a light, this one, and after building that, you call to customer. The customer come and he inspect it and saying the different things. Oh, it is okay, or it is not okay, or you need to reduce the weight or something like that. So the developer team, they will collect the feedback from the customer, and based on that they will revise the product again. So after the feedback, the developer and the scrum master, they will sit down and they will discuss internally that what we did right, what we did wrong, how can we improve it. 3 questions: what was the right things, what was the wrong thing, how can we improve it. Yeah. So in that way they can develop the production. It's called promote sustainable development. That means they always try to develop themselves, make the sprint more efficient, faster. Sponsor, developer, user should be able to maintain constant piece of independently, continuous attention to the technical excellence, good design, enhance agility. That means technical excellence. For example, if some team members they find a good way to solve a code, then they will share this thing with the other team members. At the same time, they will have some technique to archive this thing in something somewhere. So they should always put the attention to the technical excellence and good design. Simplicity, the art of maximizing amount of work not done easier. Simplicity is the things. So simplicity means instead of going complex coding system, we should follow a simple code system. Yeah. Like if you have any template or anything that can use faster, simplicity. Based architecture, requirement, design emerges from self-organizing team. Okay. So what is self-organizing team? For example, if you give a task to your team members, some team members, they are very passionate. They do it uh, by searching different best method approach. So also they try to accomplish this thing and they feel that they have gained some value, right? And you can also feel that some team members, okay, my boss give me the task, I have to do it. That's not good. I'm not feeling something. So they are not self-organizing. So they are saying that self-organizing team is the main important key things in the agile. That means if there is any task, the team will pick up and they will finish by there. They will feel the ownership of the task. So they are saying that best architecture, requirement, and design comes from self-organizing team. So agile team should be self-organizing team. Another thing is that at regular intervals, the team reflect on how to become more effective. Teams adjust its behavior accordingly. It's retrospective, and as I mentioned, retrospective. So this is the 12 principle. You do not need to memorize all of them, but just try to understand what is this thing. Because in the question, you will get some situation type of questions, and you have to solve based on these mindset. Okay. So agile mindset, four values, 12 principles. Then what is agile? So agile is uh, I think you know Lean Six Sigma, right? You know Lean process.
No.
Okay, Lean means cutting any waste, any additional steps, adding values. For example, if you want to go, for example, from your home to Walmart, you can you can go many different way, right? Google can show you many different way. Um, so you will you will choose. How can you choose the way? The shortest interval, right?
Yeah.
Shortest, yeah. So lane is the shortest one. That means if you want to go to from your home to Walmart, you will choose which route will take less time, right? Yeah. So lane is something like that, adding value, cutting any waste. Like for example, wine restaurant open in the morning. So before opening, they need to prepare. They need to bring the supplies. So if the supplies not in arrive in time, then in the Starbucks, people will not get the coffee. So again, supply should be come in just in time. There is a term, it's called JIT, just in time. That means, for example, if you need coffee supply and you call someone and they come and then they give the coffee, you do not need to store it or you do not need to wait for the 1 month, 2 month because it is a loss, right? So lean is that something that reduce the waste in the process and adding more value. So under the lean, we have agile, and in the agile we have different types of methodology, Scrum, extreme programming, this type of things. We don't need to do that. We'll go Scrum and agile and Scrum and the Kanban. We'll go through this one. So they are saying different there. Okay. So some teams have evolved project lifecycle to use iterative and incremental approach. Many teams discover that when they explore the requirements iteratively, deliver more often incrementally. That teams, these are the approach: iterative and incremental. Very short feedback loop. We already read in our first session. Yes, iterative and incremental. Yeah, we don't need to again in here. Um, Agile approach. We don't need to. Okay, next one is the life cycle selection. How can you select predictive, iterative, incremental, and agile? We already did it, right? So in here again, we can touch it. A more traditional approach, you know it. And iterative, it depends on the more accuracy, and incremental, it depends on the more speed, and agile is complexity. It's both iterative and incremental. Agile one. Here is that chart. Predictive, iterative, incremental, agile, requirement, fixed, dynamic, and goal is for iterative correctness, incremental speed, and agile is the customer value, right? Okay, here, continuum of life cycle. So degree of change, high, low, and then frequency of deliverable, high, low. So for the low degree of change and low delivery, it is predictive. And if it is go higher, that means degree of frequency of delivery is high, degree of change is very high, then it goes to the agile, right? And one more important thing, you see, frequency of delivery is, if it is high with low degree of change, it is incremental, and either is the opposite one. Degree of change is high, delivery is low, right? So you will get some questions based on that. They may say in a situation-based questions. For example, a customer came and they give um, the requirements upfront, and they want the delivery frequently. Which type of uh, project lifecycle should you select? You already know the requirement. That means the degree of change for the requirement is less, right? But they want high delivery, right? Low and high, so it is incremental, right? And again, if the degree of change is high, frequency of delivery is high, then this is agile. They are talking about this in here. And these are the characteristics. So for the predictive life cycle, uh, analyze, then design, then build, then test, then deliver for the predictive one. So like in here, design means um, planning phase. So we have 5 phases, right? 5 phases. One is initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, and closing, right? So in the initiation, we analyze something that process exists, analyze, and the plan we are design how we'll do it, and then execution we are building, right? And then monitoring and controlling, we are testing the product. Are they there? And then closing, we are delivering it, right? Yeah. So this is the predictive life cycle. And for the iterative life cycle, it is iterative means you are doing some work again and again and again until the work give us the correctness. For example, you are doing some experiment, and in the first try you get 85% result. Second try you got 90%. Third try you get 95%. Fourth try you get 100%. So you're trying and trying and make the efficiency. It's called iterating. So they are saying that analyze, and design the prototype again and again, then build and test, refine, and then deliver. This is a loop. And for the uh, incremental means they are, for example, increment means they are uh, one again. They are building the block, putting one by one, right? But each of the block, it has analyzed. It is following the predictive one. You see, so they are putting small block, again block. For example, when people building the building, what they do, put a brick and then brick. So it's kind of analyze, design, build, test. Again, analyze, design, build, test, analyze, design, build, test. Here is the incremental. And then agile. So there are iteration based agile, then flow based agile. I don't think that these are important. These are not important. So in their iteration based agile, requirement analysis, design, build, test, they are doing requirement analysis, design, build, test, and then number of feature in the work in progress limit. So I did not find anything question related to this one. Okay, so hybrid project is the important one. Hybrid, as I told you that there are some questions from the hybrid life again. So hybrid means sometimes we do some of the approach using agile and predictive analysis. For example, you are building, for example, you are building a 5-story building or Bruce Dubai, the highest building, Bruce Khalifa. So in the upfront, because it is a highest building, there are different types of loads on there, and the engineers they have lots of complexity, lots of variables, and they are thinking, can we build it? Can we successful? So in the upfront, there was highly uncertain, right? So in the upfront, there was agile type of work, and then when they done and then make the plan, after that they are building the work based on the plan, right? So in the upfront, it's kind of agile, and when they start the work, it's kind of predictive, right? So it's called hybrid types of thing. So Bruce Khalifa is good example. For example, in the Bruce Khalifa, you need to find out the foundation. You need to find out the good soil, then different types of earthquake load, wind load, then dead load, live load. Also, there will be deflections. So there are lots of things on there. And since the engineers didn't build this thing before, so they have different types of prototypes, analyzes it, and then later they come up the idea and then build it. So it's kind of agile and predictive, right? So this is called hybrid. So they are saying that agile development followed by a predictive rollout. And then this is a combined agile and predictive approach, agile and predictive. Uh, so how can I say? Um, don't have any example right now, but team is incrementally transitioning to Agile using some approach like short iteration, daily stand-up retrospective. Okay, I got it. So in the Agile, there is some events and something. So it's called daily stand-ups, retrospectives. Do you familiar with this term? Daily stand-up, retrospective.
And
We'll go through later. So let's understand that if this kind of word comes, then you think that this is agile. So daily stand-up means um, agile has, okay, so for example, in the predictive project approach, what we do, we plan for the 6 month or 1 year or any other thing, long term. And after 6 months or 1 year, we get the product, right? But agile, they break down the work. They make it sprint. So if the project is 6 months, they will they break it to 6 sprint. Each sprint is for 1 month, right? And they are saying that after 1 month, we will give you some delivery. You will see some kind of small chunk of product. After 2 months, you will see 2 chunk of product. After 3 months, 3 chunk, and after 6 months, you will see 6 chunk of product. So in that way, customer have the feedback. Customer, they will like it or they need to change it in the next sprint, how they will plan it. So for that, it's called sprint, and each sprint has different kinds of events, we say. So one of the events is daily stand-up. Daily stand-up means when you will start the office, a Scrum Master will come and they will call all the team members. If you have 4 team members, they will call them and they will discuss 3 things. What you did yesterday, what you will do today, do you have any impediments or blocks? 3 things. Remember this. You have questions. You may have questions. What you did yesterday, what you will do today, and do you have any impediment or blockers? That means, do you have any problems or do you need any assistance from me or any other team members? So each team member, they will speak and the meeting will be 15 minutes short, 15 minutes, no more than 15 minutes. So each day they will, when they will come to office, Scrum Master and the team will talk about it. What you did yesterday, what you will do today, and then do you have any problem or any impediments or any blockers? Then they will discuss. If any team members, they try to bring big problems and discuss it 1 hour, 2 hour, then you will separate this team member and discuss it in privately, not in this daily stand-up meeting. Daily stand-up is meeting for the status update, and it will be confined only 15 minutes. Remember this, 15 minutes. You will get a questions 15 minutes. Yeah, so this is called daily stand-up. And retrospective, as I mentioned, retrospective is what we did right, what we did wrong, what we need to do, how can we make it best. That means right, wrong, how can we improve. It's called retrospective. You will get the question on the retrospective. Yes. So if you find this type of terms, daily stand-up, retrospective, sprint, sprint means 1 month cycle, sprint. We'll discuss it later, but if you find this word, that means it is agile. And in the predictive, you will already know. Predictive means they will go for the scope, schedule, cost, risk, stakeholders, all these type of things. Yeah. So when you see the keyword in the question, you can easily catch, is this agile or is this predictive? How can we answer, right? For the agile, they will mention that the project is complex, high uncertainty, or something like that. Okay, so there is another one. Predictive approach with agile component. This is the predictive and some agile component. For example, people are building a 3 mile of road, and in the road, for the road, they want to test some of the road sample, pavement sample, and for the testing, they are trying to implement different types of bitumens or something that prevent the cracking in the road. So this type of complex experiment needs agile, right? After they're done, then they go for the predictive, something like that. Yeah. And then largely agile, and then something predictive. Okay. So something predictive means, for example, they already got the experimental result. So always remember, experiment, research, always go for the agile, right? because in the research we do not know if it will be successful or not. It is complex, right? So always remember, if there is any research, it should go for the agile. Yeah. And if there is any production factory types of things, it will go the predicting, because factory, for example, they are building different types of doors, plastic doors. So they already know. The process is totally known. So this kind of things is the predicting. Okay, hybrid life cycle as fit for purpose. So, okay. Mix an agile approach. Okay, so we have some tailoring. Tailoring means something that needs to fit something there. Okay, for example, project factor, tailoring options to improve fit. Project factor, for example, the quality of the product increment is poor. This is the project factor. And the tailoring option is consider using the various test-driven development practice. This mistake proofing discipline make it difficult for defects to remain undetected. So they are saying that product increment, the quality is poor. How can we improve it? So they are saying that go for some test-driven development practice, and you will find something detected. So we will go this one later, the tailoring option. We have lots of tailoring there. So this one is the agile, creating agile environment. So in the predictive project method, we call the project manager as project manager, right? But in the agile, we call them servant leader. Servant leader. Yeah. Remember the servant leader. If you get the keyword in the question, that means this is agile. Yeah. So they are saying that servant leadership. So servant leader has different types of leadership skills, and they are different than the predictive one. So we will see some of the role of servant leader. Okay. So servant leaders approach project work in this order: purpose, people, process. Okay, purpose. Work with the team to define the why or purpose so they can engage and around the goal of the project. The entire team optimize at the project level, not the personal level. Personal. So that means as a servant leader, you will show them the overview of the project. Overview means what we need to achieve, what are the outputs of this project. So the team members will team members will know how to work and how to bring the outputs. Then people, I don't think that these are the important things. Okay, these are the important ones. I'm looking for this one. So this is the characteristics of servant leadership. This is important. Promoting self-awareness, listening, serving those on the team, helping people grow, coaching versus controlling, promoting safety, respect, trust, promoting the energy, intelligence of others. Servant leadership is not unique to Agile, but once practice it. Okay, servant means who will serve to other, right? So in the Agile, they are saying that servant leadership is not the bossy things, is someone who will work with you. And if you need anything, they are said that servant leadership will bring food for the team members, food and water. They're saying that. That means the developer will work, and if they have any issue or if they needs to collaborate with the product owner, servant leadership will handle this thing. Also, they will protect the team from outside different factors. For example, one practice question was that the customer is sending troubleshooting issue again and again to the developers, and developers were busy to responding to them. As a servant leader, what should you do? You will tell to the customer that you do not need to uh, send the troubleshooting things to the developers. You should talk with me, because I am the product, I am the servant leader that protect my whole team from outside disturbance, right? So the servant leader, he will coach to his team member. For example, if some team members uh, do not perform as we expected, then he will coach how to achieve his goal instead of controlling them. And then promoting energy and intelligence of other. Promoting energy means he will motivate people to do more work, then helping people grow, then he will listen to people, active listening and self-awareness. Then servant leader responsibility. Um, servant impediment. Okay, so there are some consider this servant leadership responsibility. There are some responsibility in here. So sometimes the product owner, sometimes they are not educated. For example, when you will apply the agile methodology in your organizations, sometimes people do not feel comfortable because they do the work using predictive approach, right? When you bring the agile, they say that, oh, I don't like the agile. So you have, as a Scrum Master, as a servant leader, you have to educate your senior management, your team members, any stakeholders, that what are the benefits, right? So they are saying that educate stakeholders around why and how to be agile. Explain benefits of business value based on the prioritization, greater accountability, productivity of empowered teams, improved quality. Support the team through mentoring, encouragement, and support. Then, so mentoring thing is the important one. We'll see some questions. So the question like that, um, the team members, they usually do the work using predictive project management method, but you want to apply for the agile one. How can you do that? So the answer will be mentoring them, training them, educating them, this type of things. Because not every team members will be experiencing agile, so you have to educate them. Help the team with technical project management skills like quantitative risk analysis, celebrate team success, support and vision, something like that. So in here, important thing is that education, mentoring them. Okay, I think we can finish today. We'll come later. What do you think?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
See, you're feeling sleepy. Okay. So tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, same time?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we do 9 o'clock instead of 9:30?
Yeah, sure. I forget to. Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay.